The Sockjig Sneaker Podcast hasn't written any open letters. Welcome to episode 53 of the Sockjig Sneaker Podcast. I'm your host, Sockjig. You can follow me on Twitter at Sockjig and on Instagram as well. My guest on this episode is creative director JerLisa Nicole, who you may know from Twitter or Instagram. In February, you may have seen people posting about Black History Month Kicks of the Day hashtag that she created. We talk about that as well as her sneaker hunting show that she had on Soul Collector. We talk about her being outspoken and passionate and representation in the sneaker space, and also her thoughts about men buying women's sneakers. And throughout the interview, I read aloud some of her memorable tweets to her, which was a lot of fun for me. It's a great conversation. JerLisa is very open and candid and also very funny and just an all-around cool person. One thing I wanted to note about the interview, there's a few parts where some static comes in. I'm not sure where that was from or why it happened. Most of it I tried to clean up and kind of tone down a bit, but I had to leave it in there because if I cut it out completely, it cuts out some of the words JerLisa is saying, and so then what she's saying might not make sense. So I apologize for that. I'll try to figure out why that was happening and fix it for next time. But before we start, I wanted to once again thank everyone who bought the OG Sockjig socks that I dropped in the previous episode. I really do thank everyone who buys to support me and the show. And that's what these socks are. They're a way for you to support me, support the show, and support this type of sneaker content. You know, I'm not a brand out here trying to do brand things. I'm just a person with a sneaker show. So when you buy the socks, it tells me that you like me, you like the show, and that this is the type of sneaker content you like to see. So once again, thank you. There's a very few small amount pairs still left. If you want a pair, you can go buy a pair right now at shop.sockjig.com. There's no password or anything. Once again, thank you. And now on to our guest. My guest today is a creative director and stylist. She's also been a host, a model, and has her own sneaker cleaning business. You may have seen her work on Twitter, including the Black History Month Kicks of the Day hashtag. She's done many things in the sneaker space, which is why she's called the Blueprint. From the Dallas, Texas area, please welcome JerLisa Nicole. JerLisa, how are you?
I'm good. I feel like you should have had horns, like
I
you
might
know.
need to add those in post.
That was like an epic intro.
No, like I said, I really like your name, The Blueprint. I just like how you encompass a lot of things in the sneaker space, and I think it's a great motto to have. And you've added that to your business, is that right?
Yeah. My logo is a blueprint with my first initial.
Okay, so that was my kind of first question, and kind of the first question I ask anyone who's been on the show is like, what is your goal in sneakers? What is the mission statement? I know in your bio you say creative director, and I think you've said stylist in the past as well too, but not words like, content creator or influencer. Is the goal to be behind the camera or in front of the camera?
The goal is to be, honestly. I've really settled and like I live in the space of not having to choose one or the other because I do everything, you know. I'm in front of the camera sometimes. My passionate space and my love space is behind the camera, but I mean, I also like to be seen and I like to be heard. And sometimes I want to be like, you know what, like, F it, I'll do it myself. So I really love just being in the space. Like, a lot of people don't know that when I was doing sneaker hunting, I was also freelancing in the background for BuzzFeed for a production that's not out yet and a couple other things. Like, I've always just done both. I gotta eat. I got kids. I gotta eat.
You mentioned sneaker hunting. What happened officially with that? That was on the Caffeine TV platform. I'm
Yeah.
not sure if Complex owns it, but Complex had, I guess, a couple of shows on there. So what happened there?
Yeah. I have no clue how much I can talk about, but whatever.
Yeah,
Uh,
just
Complex had they had a what is the word I'm looking for? A contract via Soul Collector with Caffeine. So Caffeine is its own app. They are actually known for like battle rap and stuff like that. And they wanted to kind of branch out and have more users come to the app. So they had the contract with Soul Collector to produce 5 sneaker based shows. There was mine sneaker hunting. There was a sneaker brackets. There was unboxing. There was a sneaker cleaning show, and then the full size run. Full size run was live on there every other week. So those were the 5 shows. Um, yeah, it was cool. It didn't do what they let me not even say it didn't do what they wanted to do. Renegotiations didn't work out, and that's really just what the bottom line was. The money that was requested wasn't approved, and so they moved on. Um, and then as you see, last year things quickly changed with Complex, with BuzzFeed acquiring them and like officially taking over. I think that when these shows started, it was at the beginning of the acquisition. So BuzzFeed's hand wasn't as strong over it. And a lot of things, in my opinion, drastically changed when BuzzFeed took over. And last summer is when like emails changed, took over. So yeah, do
They
with
took
that
out the red
information what you will.
pen and started cutting things, I assume.
Oh, they cut things, they cut people. Actually, they didn't cut things, they cut people. Um, I think everybody saw it was like December of 2022. A bunch of people woke up and were not able to log into their work computers or their information. Like I was able to log in, but my boss, my assistant boss, and my HR person weren't able to log in. And I found that out via text message, email, and Instagram.
Right.
So it was like the things were still in place. The job still had to be done. I had an invoice or a time card that hadn't been approved yet because it was like a Thursday or something like that. Like it wasn't even the last day of the week. And people woke up with nothing, with no answers, and were on Twitter finding out that they got laid off. I think they laid off 12%. It was said BuzzFeed laid off 12% of its staff, and that 12% almost all came from Complex.
Yeah, and they killed off BuzzFeed News, and they've been in the news with this generative AI stuff too, wanting to do a lot more of that stuff as well.
Yeah, it's like every 3 to 6 months is a new story because the cutoff I'm talking about happened in December, and then they did the BuzzFeed News one, what, like a month ago or something like that. There's been a lot of changes. As somebody that loves the culture and really, like, enjoyed these platforms and stuff, it does make me nervous about what the future of it looks like. 'Cause I can't picture AI leading the culture of sneakers. Not to say that Complex led the culture, because I know people had their issues with Complex, but I can't see
Some
an
people definitely do.
AI. Oh, yeah, people talk they mess, but Complex is family. Hey, but
Complex
yeah,
is
I
not
can't
my
see.
family.
JerLisa the freelancer still needs jobs, but
Please hire JerLisa though.
but yeah, I can't see AI being like first of all, sneaker of the year list with Complex, I already be ready to tussle them up. Imagine AI telling us what sneaker of the year is.
Yeah, no, I think like the first approach is a lot of it really does suck. It's the what it creates is not that great and it's gonna miss a lot of stuff. So I think it might turn people into editors and those people might then realize I have time to do other stuff and those with the voice will kind of shine through is kind of what I'm hoping. And those who are like, maybe I don't have a job in the sneaker space, so just recapping stuff that's pointless that's
Yeah.
kind of the more way I see it, but I really don't know because it's all changing so fast.
Yeah, I think that the issue isn't going to be the creators because creators create, right? Tumblr came out of the 2007, 2008 shutdowns and recession and strikes and stuff like that. And, like we always, creators are going to find a place to be creative, to talk about what they love and to show it off, whether it's small or big. I think that the issue is going to come in for the people that aren't the creators, but they're the consumer of the creation.
Yeah,
Because if your main source for sneaker information is complex sneakers, and for a lot of people, a lot of niches to the game and parents and stuff, it is if that's your main source, but now it's run by AI, where do you go to find those people?
yeah,
Where do the suburban moms go that are like, okay, I can look for complex news, but they're not on sneaker Twitter or They're not trying to join Discord. They just want to know when the shoe that their kid likes come out,
Right.
or if this shoe is going to be a good birthday or Christmas gift. AI can't. They can't roast you right. Like AI just don't got it like that.
Yeah, no, it's not gonna AI is not gonna look fresh in the streets, right?
Yeah.
Yeah. Okay. Well, final question about Complex, and we'll move on to other topics. Did you feel supported by them? Did you feel supported by their platform with your show and how it was promoted? How is it? How are they to work with behind the scenes?
Um,
Jaleesa still needs a job. She's still
I
available.
this is so fun. Okay, I'm unbiased. I'm raw unfiltered. Let's go. I think that my executive producer for Sneaker Hunting, um, name starts with the J, just in case they end up listening to this, was amazing to me from start to finish. There were times where life kind of got at me, and I was like, I don't know if I can do that. Like it, it was a year. It was like 9 months, but it was a time. And he was just an amazing person to me from beginning to end. My entire production team, like we'd get the camera set up, and everything I did was remote. So they taught me how to set up like my Suedo space by myself, the cameras, the microphones, the lights, and all of that. And they would watch me on our little Zoom while I'm moving through. They see me like eat breakfast and be like, sorry guys, I gotta rush this. They see me do my makeup and my hair. So that part was definitely like a family. Bianca, Dan, both of Dan's, eventually Olivia, and that was a family. Austin, Josh, everybody, we were like cool. Like I miss sometimes the phone calls before, or not phone calls, but like there would be like 35 to 45 minutes before time would actually air, because it got to the point where I could set up the entire studio in 10 minutes. And now we have a 2-hour call time where we don't even got to be on for 2 hours, but we'll be back in 30 minutes. And we're talking about politics, and we're just talking about life. And we're all different types of people: Jewish people, trans people, gay, straight, black, white. Like it was a diverse group. And we genuinely just talked and chilled and had fun. Sneaker hunting was great in that aspect. I do wish that Complex and Soul Collector would have put more of a budget behind it and would have put more care into building the schedule and the plans and stuff like that, because the direction that it took, I kind of took it there. Like
Right.
the promo was me posting it the day of and tagging them and then reposting it. It wasn't like a set, like, here's JerLisa for the week and here's Bree for the week and here's like, I don't feel that any of us got like the full, we didn't get a social media asset team or any of that from them. And I think that that would have made a greater push. And then with the show direction, because it was something so brand new, and I'm convinced that this show was created for me. And let me just break off and tell you why real quick. When they originally approached me, they wanted me to do the sneaker cleaning show because I had dusty feet at the time.
Yeah.
And they're like, do you clean? And I'm like, yeah, but like I clean at home. Like this is a little ghetto, but I could do it. Like I can make it look really good. And the guy that they chose has 2 store locations for his cleaning, so they went with him. But the producer was like, "Let me call you back. I have an idea. We have 2 or 3 ideas. Like, let me see." And when he calls me back, he was like, "Do you like shopping for shoes? Like, you shop, right?" And I'm like, "Yeah." He was like, "Okay, cool. How do you feel like we can call it sneaker hunting, and we'll figure out a way that you shop for shoes with the viewers." And that was literally how that show was birthed. Like, I don't believe that sneaker hunting was on their list of things until it was like, let's figure out a space for JerLisa. Like they genuinely made me feel like they made room for me. And so that, especially being brand new and a fresh face, I'm forever grateful for that, because I felt like somebody thought about me outside of just like, all right, she cool, she cute, she funny, bet. It was like, no, like we want to intentionally have her a part of this. And so because of that though, we didn't really have like a guide list of like, okay, this is how you'll shop for shoes. It was literally just, it's you and the audience. You guys figure out how to get shoes. After the second week, I'm like, bro, these people are not gonna keep watching me shop for myself. Like,
Right.
can we get real about this? Like, this is really crazy, especially at this time financially. And so that's how we branched out into giving shoes to the audience. And I would tweet like, here's the Google Doc. All you got to do is tell me a funny story or
Right.
tell me the time you missed the shoe the most or, what shoe does your mom hate? Like, I was picking the most random stuff. And I would either I buy myself a shoe this week and I buy someone a shoe next week. Or if I could fit it into the budget, I'm buying two pairs of shoes. You get one, I get one, and we're both happy.
Right. And like you were saying, the promotion and stuff, you can't ask others to care deeply about something that's got your face on it as much as yourself is going to care about it, right? So that's where it's like it's gonna eventually become your thing, and you're gonna have your voice on there and the direction that it should go.
Yeah, yeah. And I mean, in hindsight, it worked out the way that it needed to. I felt free enough to make it how I wanted. I don't think I was ever told no about anything. And like at one point I was like, "Can Missy Elliott come on my show?" And they're like, "JerLisa, if you can find Missy Elliott's contact information, we will ask her to be on the show."
Yeah,
And they did. I found the information. They tried everything they could to get her on. It just didn't work out.
yeah.
I wanted Trinidad on the finale, and I think it ended up being when they needed to take full size run or something like that too, and it just didn't work out. But like, at no point was it like, nah, or was it like, get in line and do it this way. There was always a yes, we'll see. Let's figure this out for you.
So
So the promo but the rest of it, yeah.
so you had briefly mentioned that, and we see you on Twitter as well too. You're outspoken and you're passionate with your opinion. Has that hurt you in your bookings in this kind of navigating this sneaker space where, you know, someone might say you're too loud for this, or you're, too brash for this?
Yeah, absolutely. Adidas does not want your ass out. They don't want you at the club turning up. They don't want you talking about smoke. Like they have a certain brand face that they would like. I personally don't fit that. I still give them all the love that they deserve because I have a great butt and I'm gonna show it. Like I don't know, no brand's gonna stop me from that. And so yeah,
So
but yeah.
I have a couple of your tweets, and throughout the interview, I'll probably, like I said, I'll probably read aloud some of your tweets. So this is one I had copy pasted out here. It said, "Give women in sneakers a shot without policing how we show up. You love my outspoken, raw, passionate intensity on here, but less in real life. Stop being scared, because I'm not changing. Book me while I'm cheap."
Yeah.
Like I was saying to you before, there's a couple of your tweets that just stick with me over the years, and a couple of them, I was like, I'm gonna bring these up because I really
Yeah.
like seeing your opinion on these kind of things.
Yeah, that one specifically is because like it goes back to like when you asked me about where I see myself and I said I just be because the same brand that may not book me as an influencer because I'm showing up like this, that, and the third via Twitter or I'm on Instagram in a busty crop booth, they're also working with me on different things because Adidas C, I love the program. I love the idea behind it. It's the school for experimental something and design. I forgot what the second E
Yeah,
is.
it's about getting women and represented
Yeah.
women into sneakers and sneaker space and in the industry.
Well, it's literally like it's almost like a paid internship.
Yeah,
Like they get paid to work with Adidas while also learning sneaker design and like a crash course thing. I don't work for them officially, so nobody come shoot me. But like I know the team and we talk often. Hey, what do you guys need? You guys need help with promo? I met this person that seems like they would be great for this. Let me send you your info. Like I still have my connections underneath it. And so when I say stuff like book me while I'm cheap, I mean that. Like, oh, okay, you don't think that I'm worthy to be an influencer, but you are using my ideas or you're utilizing me in all these other ways, just not in the forefront yet. Okay, fine. I'm totally okay with that because I like being in the background as well. But there's going to come a day where you can't deny me that spot in the forefront. You can't deny showing me, amplifying me, and talking about me. And when you come back after you've told me no, 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 because I'm simply being myself, it's going to be more expensive than it was when I was begging you to just see it. Because now you begging me to talk to you.
that's right. No,
And so, yeah.
the forever criticism of Adidas is there's someone in Germany that doesn't understand the culture, and their CEO even said this in a question and answer on an earnings report where they said, Nike has the advantage because they export street culture. And how I read that was kind of like how McDonald's is the one who kind of created fast food or kind of
Mhm.
popularized it, and then it went to the rest of the world. And they're saying they're basically Nike's the streetwear version of McDonald's and doing the same thing. Meanwhile, global culture does not always come across to North American audiences, which, I'm not sure if that is correct or not, but we're not all sitting out here in Adidas tracksuits or anything. But
Yeah, and I mean,
the answer is Adidas should be like listening to their North American executives on this kind of stuff and
yeah,
recognize that kind of stuff, right?
yeah, but and it's not. I mean, I use them as the example because that was the most recent one. I was told like, if you want this, you got to switch it up a little bit, and I was like, it's okay, I'll buy it. But I mean, I've heard it about Nike in reference to myself, and Jordan opportunities in reference to myself, and women's Foot Locker opportunities in reference. I've had people try to stifle and change me more than I've had them just accept me up front. And some of them are people I work with now and I collaborate with now. We have great relationships and friendships, but we had to get past the point of like them realizing one, I'm not just this not just like my Twitter personality. I really act like this in real life, which whether that's good or bad, I don't know and I don't care. But like this is really me. And number two, there's nothing wrong with that. Like, just because 'cause you're not used to presenting that way or you're not used to seeing women present that way, there's nothing wrong with that. And I use all the time, Cardi B is out here, Megan Thee Stallion is out here. Like, there are women that are presenting exactly as they are, and people love it.
Yeah.
So why does it have to be one of them at a time?
No, I think you do that really well. You bring representation into the sneaker space without, banging the drum that this is about representation, but it's like you actually have the qualifications to be here and to talk about this kind of stuff, which is great about you. Um, I think one of the regrets I have is like I didn't exactly show my face and my identity. I'm a brown Indian man, and there's really nothing that sneaker companies have ever tried to get to me, to Indian man about. Right,
I
the
wish
closest
that
was
you could see my face just now because when I tell you I thought you were Mexican up until this exact moment,
no.
like I have never seen you, but I don't know why in my mind I was like, Sockjig Mexican. Like,
I
wow.
was calling it Doritos last year, okay? That's how non-Mexican I am.
That is so crazy. I definitely missed that episode, but I talked to you before. Like I've heard your voice before. I thought you were Mexican, my friend. You can leave this in the podcast too because my mind is blown.
See, I have such a different upbringing than everyone else. Like, my parents were born in India, came to Canada in the 60s, 70s. And like I worked on migrant farms with my mom as a kid. Like I was literally a child laborer, right? And so I did not have a mom that would take me to the mall and buy me the latest sneakers and that kind of stuff. We had whatever the version of the sneakers that we could get. And I'm old, and so I saw Jordan play. And so when I got older is why I'm like in sneakers now, so I can buy the stuff that I couldn't back then. So like I said, I think I made a mistake in probably not representing myself out there, but I can change that anytime. But enough about me. This is about you. Like I said, I really like that you're representing in the sneaker space. I think one of the other tweets that I remember you saying is about um, brown skin and dark skin women need more representation and opportunities in sneakers. Do you feel that way? Has that changed? Do you still see that bias towards you, this colorism? I know as an Indian person that colorism exists. I know it does in a lot of communities and Mexican community and Korean community and stuff like that. How does it
Um,
affect you in the sneaker space?
it hmm, that tweet wasn't about myself, actually. I had logged in one day. This tweet's like a year old too for anybody trying to figure out who I was talking about. I logged into the sneaker app one day and it's like 6 months old. Anyways, logged into the app one day and I'm like scrolling and stuff. And they were featuring a lot of women, and I'm like, "Oh my god, like, this is so great." But I noticed that every woman featured was, like, lighter skinned and, like, curlier hair and racially ambiguous, and not everyone was racially ambiguous, but they were between those guidelines. Like, I think there was only one woman whose skin tone was anywhere near mine. And it was like, well, damn, like y'all have 63 women on here today, which is amazing, but you couldn't find one that was browner or one with kinky, like nappy hair. And I'm gonna use the word nappy on purpose. Like it just it felt like, not only are you guys leaving me out, but there are people that have been in this before me that are being left out. There's Tiana Taylor and Alayli May, and y'all know I love Alayli May down. Like, I'm my number one in this
A
game, but I
style icon.
have to, yeah, not just style icon, but just the way that she's climbed. I love it. But I have to be realistic about the fact that while Alayli was getting shoes, Tiana was just the face of a clothing line that Jordan Brand had. Not even the sneakers at that time, and I forgot what the shoes were called, but it's when they made like the pastel Jordan ones in a million colors, and then the high top Jordan ones where the laces went sideways and the Velcro. They had like they were trying to reinvent Jordans for women. The Jordan one specifically for women.
Right.
And they had this flight line for the face. Tiana was the face of it, like maybe like 2017. I'm not sure. But it was when Alayli was getting shoes, and I'm like, okay, Tiana Taylor been in the sneaker game. Been. What's the only thing that I, from the outside looking in, and I know now that I'm in the industry and I see that things work differently, that this may not have been the case, but I can only imagine for other girls that look like me and that aren't in the industry saying, what's up? Like, why does it take so much for girls that look like me with a little bigger nose and wilder hair and darker skin and a deeper voice and we just do what we want? Like, what's up? Why we can't get these opportunities? So
Because those
now,
are the women buying the actual sneakers, right? The especially
yeah,
like the type of sneaker that you like. Like you are not stereotyped as like a shrink it and pink it type person who just likes the pink cute sneakers. I'm sure
right,
you do
right.
like a lot of those, but I've seen you in like Jordan 7s and things like that, right? Like you almost have, this might sound bad, but you almost have like the mentality of a size 13 man when it comes to
No,
sneakers.
yeah, I was the man that got me into sneakers, my poor uncle, baby feet size, but he's an 8.5 in men's. So any shoe he bought himself, he bought me. I had taxis, I had Chicago's, I had slants, I had the shoes that grown men had. So I definitely I don't take offense to that at all. And I'm a tomboy, so I definitely
Well, that's good.
veered towards like the manlier side of shoes, but I mean, and again, not to discount Alayli because her collection is heat as well. It's just like, why can't they both win at the same time? Why do we have to trial the darker skinned women so much compared to our fair counterparts? And I know people hear me talk about this a lot. I remember at one point somebody was like, "You hate light skinned people." That's so far from the case. My little sister is black and white. So
Right.
I was raised in an interracial household. I've seen my entire life the differences between a darker skinned girl and a lighter skinned girl. I see firsthand who people gravitate to and just how things are differently. And so, like I said, for people that aren't in the industry, for little girls that are like me, who's full black and have a sibling that's not, I can see them seeing one on the screen and being like, wow, this is beautiful. She's a girl, but also being like, dang, like, where's where's the space for me?
Right.
And so I love seeing I talk about this all the time, like, and people don't realize I'm so sappy, I'm so sensitive. Um, but seeing Naya Lorraine on sneakers and doing the Jordan Brand preview makes my heart happy in a way that I cannot explain.
I, li-
Why am I fucking about to cry? I'm such a baby. Anyways,
I
Naya
love.
has hot
She's the one
pink
with the pink
hair.
hair, right?
Yes,
Yeah. No.
hot pink hair. It's in a cute little fade. Naya got long nails. Naya black as hell in her spirit and how she like shows up, like not her skin, but like She shows up like a Black woman that's been through the struggle of a brown-skinned Black woman. I love tuning in every time she's on there. Show me your earrings, sister. Show me your nails. Show me what's up. Like Tiana Denise, she's a singer. Tiana be having her braids, her sunglasses on. Tiana is towards the more brown side. I love those women win. I love seeing Takara on top on whatever she's doing, whether it's a guest spot or it's something else, because that's who I see representation in. Like I see it in women in general because we're all women, we're all girls. But I feel the struggle differently with those people because I know what it is. I know what it is to stand next to your sister and your best friend and you the darkest one in the room and everybody is ignoring you.
Right.
And I don't mean everybody like guys, I mean like teachers and coaches and people that are supposed to give a fuck.
Yeah. It's like in Hollywood and in any kind of entertainment industry, it ends up being a looks-based business. Partially, you
Mhm.
also have to have the goods behind it. But it's like, who is the person that's deciding what looks good, right? Like, who's hiring the person there? So that's why there was a bias towards, whiter people and fair-skinned people. But then if the room is changing, if the person doing the hiring is changing, and more people are like, no, this person is hot. They have the goods when it comes to the knowledge in the space, and they can deliver when it comes to the actual show or whatever it is. Then
Mhm.
that's when we'll see the change. And I think, like, as you've kind of talked about in this last year, we have seen a little bit more of that, hopefully.
Yeah, yeah. I think the Jordan Brand Women's Collective is doing a great job. Jordan Brand Women's is doing a great job of keeping their ear to the street and listening. I see changes year over year that I can still sit back and be like, not enough, but also be like, you know what? This is much better than you did before.
Right.
This is like I feel heard in some of the things that I'm seeing. I feel like we still have a long way to go, but yeah, I think progress is coming. It's just slowly coming and it has to be more than one of us. Like even when I'm getting opportunities, I'm like, I'm here, but here go three more girls that remind me of me.
Right.
Here goes more representation on this side on, they have colored hair, they got a big butt, they're darker skin, they're
No,
whatever the case may be.
I feel like we should all be platforming each other for this kind of stuff, because it's like,
Oh,
who
you
else is gonna
wouldn't
do it, right?
believe how much people do not platform each other.
No.
They be like, "No, no, no, I'm here. It's just me. I'm the only one in the room." Yeah, no. It doesn't happen as much as it needs to.
No, I am barely in this thing. Like, I have this show and a Twitter account, and that's about it. And that's like I said earlier, that's enough for me. That's what I like. But even
Yeah.
I've experienced that, where like other people who have could have helped, or pointed in a direction or said a simple thing and like thank you or whatever, but they don't. And I notice it too. But
Mhm.
then I'll have my revenge.
Yeah.
Anyways,
It'll cost them more, like I said.
yeah. Um, that kind of leads to what I wanted to ask about. Some topics I'm sure you've talked about overall, and you get, when it comes to a topic where if you've talked about it too much, you kind of get sick of it and you're kind of over it. And it's about women's sneakers. And what is your preference or position on sizing when it comes to women? Because there's one side that says we want women's exclusive, that's exclusive to women's sizing, and there's the opposite side that says we should just have unisex for everything and that will solve all the problems. What is your kind of thought on that?
My honest opinion is that we all just need to shut the hell up. Like,
Great
I
opinion.
think I I think I tweeted that one day. Like, at this point, the conversation has been ongoing for so long, everybody just shut up. Like, buy what you buy and stop talking. But to delve into it deeper, I don't know how many people notice that Jordan Brand has moved to a more unisex, like the Chicago 2, for example, released in men's, women's, grade school, preschool, da 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 da.
Right.
But like there was an actual women's shoe. And if I'm not mistaken, I'd held them up against each other, but I do need to double check. But if I'm not mistaken, the shape had a slight difference to it because that's always been my thing. Women's shoes, women exclusives, the silhouette and the sole is made to fit a woman's foot, which genetically, DNA, no matter how you crisscross it, hormonally, our feet are shaped different than men. I know people try to argue me whenever I say like women genetically that look, our feet are shaped different. God did that, not me. Argue with him or whoever you believe in,
Right.
whatever. Um, but yeah, so the women's Chicago 2 has a slightly different Chicago 2 in that same size. And same with the GS1. Um, GS1 for sure because I did it. I bought what did I buy? I bought a shoe in GS and it was like slightly uncomfortable when I was trying it on. And I'm like, let me just see the women's one for shits and giggles. Women's one fit like a dream, fit perfectly. Same size. And I'm like, oh, okay, cool. They're definitely fitting into the quote unquote unisex model by giving everybody what they want. I also feel like that's partially why we see so much stuff sitting because everybody doesn't realize how many different options there are because the box will say the men's size on the top and the women's size on the bottom or vice versa.
Right.
So when they hit the outlet, you don't know what you're buying. But if you go on the Nike website, you'll literally see all the sizes. I think with that being done for most GRs, most retros, and for a lot of these collabs and exclusives, that's why I'm like, everybody should just shut up. Like, if you're paying attention to how things are moving, like I said before, they're answering some of our questions. The Ama Minier 12 released in men's and women's. The brand told us it was releasing in men's and women's. They just said we're prioritizing women getting their sizes. However, we're creating a men's version and we're creating a women's version.
It
The
seems like
same with the apparel. It was men's and women's. Nobody paid attention to that.
yeah, it seems like they adjusted the quantity that they made to kind of counteract. Okay, we didn't make enough threes, and so
Mhm.
for the next one we'll kind of up it a bit, and
Mhm.
then it gets people calls them bricks because they didn't sell, but the economy and everything has a play in that as well too. But
Yeah.
they are
And I
making them
mean,
available.
the black ones I think are still available. The white ones sold out within 24 hours. I think people are calling those brick. I'll give them that with the black ones. People genuinely did not like them. So if they call that a brick, fine, whatever. But just back to the sizing and the men's and women's, there was like an argument about if men could buy the Amaminier 12 or something. I saw like tweets for like 2 days of people going
Right.
back and forth of men buying the shoe. And I think I tweeted once. I think that's when I tweeted, like, everybody just shut up.
Okay,
because,
I have a tweet about this if I can read one of your tweets.
okay. Yeah.
Okay, this I think this is about men wearing women's sneakers. That's what this tweet is about. Okay,
Okay.
this is a really great tweet. The real, honest to God answer is these men get no pussy. There's no other way for me to word it. All of this is sexist behavior. Men buy the women's shoes. Just don't buy our small sizes and mark them up high on resale. That is why we get upset. I don't give a fuck what you wear, though, ugly man.
Yeah.
End
Yeah.
quote.
That was literally about the Amaminier 12s. Like, because they were, like I said, people were arguing for days. I think there was like a space about it. I don't remember. I remember logging off and logging back in and being like, "Oh, still talking about this." The only time men are egging on women feeling like that, it's because they're like, you need some pussy, you need some coochie, you need something to satisfy you to make you be like, you know what, let me put my phone down.
Right,
Like, you need to get out of here because what are you doing? A man that's having sex, whether he having sex with a man or woman, a donkey, whatever, a man that's getting some, that's letting one off is like, hey, whoever want this shoe, I'ma buy it for you. It don't matter.
right.
It don't matter. I'm not having sex with anyone, but just the man that likes me was like, "Do you want me to cover this for you?" "No, sweetheart, I got it." But you know what? I know that he's getting sex from somewhere. We're not even exclusive. Anyway, my point here is men that have things to be concerned with aren't starting online discourse about nothing. Like,
Honestly, when I saw your tweets and stuff about this, about how men behave and act and react, I'm like, I know she's not talking about me because I don't talk about any of this kind of stuff. So I just keep scrolling. That's for those other people over there,
exactly.
and like, it just doesn't even phase me at all because I'm like, it's not about me.
Exactly, and you always see they'll be foaming out the mouth to be my mentions and, "Well, actually," like, "Okay, well," if you had somebody lying next to you right now, you wouldn't be in my mentions with the will action. Like you would just do what you want to do. And like I said in that tweet, the root of the issue, because I wear a six in men. No grown man is wearing a six men. It's cool, bro. I understand that you're not buying a shoe because when we say that, they're always like, "What man wears a six in men?"
Yeah.
Not you, and I understand that. My issue is, you know, you don't wear a six in men's, you wear an 11, but you're also buying a six, and you're hiking the price up on that six times three. Meanwhile, if you resell the 11, you're gonna resell it for $50 more. And why? Because women buy things, and because the people that women like that buy things for them will buy it. A lot of women aren't sneakerheads like that to where they'll be like, "Oh, no, I know this price is outrageous." A lot of them see it and they go, "Babe, I really want these dunks," not knowing that your dunks shouldn't be $450.
Right.
Like, I've had to tell my homegirls, they'll be like, "Hey, sis, before I send this to my boyfriend, is this a good price?" "No, absolutely not." And it's always a women's side.
Right. No, I like there's never been a women's shoe that I just absolutely wanted. But I'm a men's 12. Like that they just don't make a women's 13 and a half. I think honestly the first women's shoe I ever got was that Ama Munier 3 because they made a 13 and a half and 14 women's size for those ones.
Right, and if I'm not mistaken, that was the first, well, not the first, but that was a unisex drop as well. Alayli May had the first unisex Jordan. If not the first unisex Jordan, she had the first unisex Jordan 1. Because I remember when her black and silver 1 released, that was the biggest thing. Like, this is unisex. This is for everybody, men's sizes and women's sizes. The Alma Minier 3, people lean towards it being women because of the story. And they say we made these for women. However, the shoe is in fact a unisex shoe, both men's and women's sizing. Um, but even if it's exclusive, that's totally fine, just don't overdo it.
Right.
Like with the Travis Scott, men that wear there are women that wear a men's 11 and stuff like that. Like there's plenty of women that do actually, more than people think. And so you have men that wear that same size and wear men's 12 and a half or whatever, and they're like, "Well, I know it's a women's shoe, but I'm gonna be trying anyway." Like, it's like, okay, even if that is your philosophy, why do you have to be a dick about it? Why do you have to tell
Yeah.
us? Why can't you just go do what you're gonna do? Like, it almost feels like antagonizing, or like I said, sexless people wanting to start arguments because they don't have anything better to do.
No,
Like,
there is a lot of this. I think I call it like Twitter warfare that goes on, where they just weaponize an angle and say this is it, and then factions form and they start fighting about it. Then a Twitter space is created, and then it's like forgotten the next day. And then I
it's
just sit on the sidelines.
crazy.
Sometimes, if there's a joke to be made, I'll make a joke. But you've never seen me jump in on some of these where, like, I felt like I'm giving my moral authority on this, and because I'm just like I don't need to have a public opinion on every single thing.
Yeah, I agree. And even when I felt like I needed to have a public opinion on everything, it was because I wanted people to hear me and I wanted people to see me. Hey, I'm new here. I ain't never did this before, but I got something to say and it's worth you listening to. So I kind of had to, like, I had to kick down the door, kick through the window and be like, "You're going to listen." Once I gained a certain level of respect, and I had some people in the industry really tap me and be like, "JerLisa, we love your raw and unfilteredness. Here's how you make it work for you. Here's how you pick and choose when to fold them and when to hold them and whatever else." That's when it was like, "Oh, okay." Like, I feel like I adopted superpowers. Like, I can speak, but I don't have to speak about everything, like
Right.
you said. If I hate it so much, I don't have to tell people. Now the lighthearted ones, like, "Damn, this ugly." We'll make a joke. But all this other stuff, I only did it and I was only rambunctious as fuck and fighting, literally fighting my way to be seen because I had to fight to be seen because nobody was seeing me otherwise. I've been in sneakers since I was 4.
Right.
Ain't nobody cared about it until I was like, "Yo, like, I got something to say. You about to shut up and listen." And I think that some people don't value their space and who they are in this industry. And I tell like people that I became friends with in the beginning that are asking me stuff like, "How do I be an influencer? How do I da da da?" you have to be you, but you also have to know when to go and when to pull back, when it's necessary and when it's not necessary. Because there's even some spaces where, and I think I've said this on the timeline before, like whether it was the first spaces group I was a part of or the second. I've been blatant about the fact that there are some times that I was saying stuff that I regretted. There were times where I'd say it immediately after the space, like, "Oh my god, y'all, I was tripping. I'm so sorry I acted that way. I regret this." Or weeks later, "Hey, I said this and I stood on this as my opinion, but I don't agree with this anymore, and I want to acknowledge that I'm making a better choice or that I'm changing, whatever it is." And I think that a lot of people struggle with that because it makes people feel like you aren't who you are. But to me, like Imma change my mind 10 times a day if I have
Right.
to. If I'm wrong, I'm wrong, and I'm gonna change when I'm wrong. And I think you can look back at my tweets back then, and I would even be like, "I rock with this side, like, this my faction, but I also think everybody arguing is lame, so I'm gonna just log off." Like,
Right.
and people would be so mad at me, like, "Really, JerLisa? Yes, yes. Everybody needs to shut the hell up. Everybody needs to go to bed. We all sound stupid." Like, and for me, it'll be a point where I'm tweeting and I'm in the zone and I'm going off and my brain literally clicks and is like, "Really, my nigga? Like, this what you about to do all night?" What if the guy that you like decides that today is the first day he goes on your Twitter
Let's see what
and
you're
he
about.
sees you arguing about sneakers? Yeah, I have to go back and delete stuff like, "Nah, bro. Nah,
Yeah.
I can't do this." So,
No, if they checked your timeline now and be like, "Oh, Vanderpump Rules," that makes sense.
oh yeah, I'm not deleting none of those.
That's vital content.
None of them. Yeah, there's a guy, why am I saying this on here? There was a friend that I invited to watch the Vanderpump Rules finale with me, and he texted me like an hour after it started and was like, "Do you still want me to come?" No, no, because it's almost done now. Like, you thought I was gonna wait for you? No.
That was the Super Bowl. It was a huge thing. It was
That
like
would
it was a talk
yeah.
of like entertainment industry on my Twitter timeline of like just regular like Hollywood accounts and stuff that I saw. We're all talking about that finale.
People that ain't never talked about that show talking about it. I have friends that like binge watched it in a week. Like I was like, "Hey, you better catch up. You better catch up because it's gonna get there." And we still have the 3 reunion episodes to go. And Secrets Tell All, like, honestly, it just feels like it's Christmas, it's my birthday. It's actually going to be ending near my birthday. God really shined on me with this. Sorry to Ariana. I know that this is like her trauma, but for me and my entertainment, God
I
loved me.
laughed when you said it was your Super Bowl.
I hate the Super Bowl. Although Rihanna killed it, I went to a bar just in time. I mean, maybe like 5 minutes before the halftime show started. And once it ended, I went back home. And yeah, this is my like I've chosen sides. I've broken down team players and what they did. I've watched the show from season one, episode one. Like I'm a hardcore stan for this. If they had a Barb's for Vanderpump Rules, I would join. I would join and I wouldn't care if people judged
They
me.
should, you know how they have SneakerCon? They really do. Andy needs to have an AndyCon or something like that.
He has
Oh, there you
BravoCon
go.
and there's like 5 of us in sneakers that are thinking about meeting up and going. Like that's how deep it is. We were like, "Oh, this shit is big. We might need to actually make this a
Yeah.
thing."
Okay, so I was gonna ask about the Black History Month Kicks of the Day project that you started as well too, which has really expanded over the last couple of years. How did that start? Where did that idea come from? And like the execution of it this year, I just saw so many people participating in it, and I assume it must have been a lot of work. But behind the scenes, like how did it come about?
Yeah. So I was in Soul Food. I was one of the original moderators when it first started. And I remember at the time, like, I didn't want us to just be bored in there. Like, I would be like, okay, what's the purpose here? We couldn't buy, trade, and sell at the time because it was a new product, and we're kind of unsure of how Twitter worked. But we were just like, hey, this is just your sneaker community space. So I'm like, okay, let's spice it up. We'll do Spirit Week like we're kids, and I tried to do Halloween. I think I did Halloween. Like 5 or 10 people participated. It was only in Soul Food though. And then I was like, I'll do Thanksgiving. And nobody responded. Nobody did it, which, okay, fine. And so Christmas came around and I was like, I was going to do it, but F y'all. Like, y'all know me. Hey, I'm gonna give my effort, but y'all don't want the effort. I'm not gonna keep doing it. And so, Ren, one of the Twitter sneakerhead ladies, was like on my neck, and I do mean on my neck, like breathing down my neck every day. JerLisa, when are you gonna do another Spirit Week? Please do another Spirit Week. Will you do it for Black History Month? Just do like 2 days or whatever, whatever. And like it, Ren was annoying me, and she knows it. Ren was annoying the hell out of me about it. I'm like, no, like only 5 people participated. I don't want to do it. It was too much, and it didn't feel good. Honestly, when you're a creator and you make things and nobody acknowledges it or 2 people acknowledge it, it doesn't feel good.
Right.
But she kept bothering me, and so I was like, okay, bet. I'm gonna do it. And not only am I gonna do Black History Month, I'm gonna do the entire month, all 28 days. And you specifically better do every single day since you won't stop asking me about it.
She's like your co-manager.
Pretty much. Like she's really the enforcer behind this. So she was like, okay. And so that's how I literally typed it up in my notes last year, took a couple screenshots, posted it, and I would just post it every day. And I would tell people like, you're not in theme, don't use my hashtag. Cause I'm not one of those people that just needs engagement,
Yeah.
you know? Some people will be like, use this hashtag for da 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 da. Hey, if it's not for what I asked it for, don't
Mm,
use it. Because honestly, that's how I kept track and like would retweet and interact with
right.
it. And I tried my best to do as many of them as I could. I didn't do all 28, but that wasn't my case to do all 28. It was Ren's, and she did. And so we did it. Everybody was exhausted by March 1st. And then nonstop, people were asking me throughout the year, like, are you going to do another Black History Month Kicks of the Day? I really loved it. Let's bring it back. Or I would get mentioned in tweets and people would be like, this is my best friend. We've been friends for such and such amount of months. And we only met because we did Black History Month Kicks of the Day and we realized that we have the favorite shoes are the same. Or like when I was sourcing shoes for something, I needed a very specific dunk, a SB from like '06, and that's not easy to find. Any SB from '06, terrible to
Right.
find. Um, I just happened to type the name in Twitter, and the very first result was from Black History Month. Oh shit!
Yeah.
Like, hey, can I rent your shoe? Like, So I just saw how much it brought people together and how much people had fun with it. And I also was dead broke when I did it last year. So I couldn't provide anything for anybody. Not that people were asking, but I think I said this earlier, like, if I'm going to do something, I like to have some type of incentive or some type of give back. And I really, really appreciated the fact that people did it just on the strength of me being like, hey, this is what we got to do. So this year we did it again. I had one of my friends create a template, and the template got used halfway. That's something I definitely have to work on next year, is being more serious about it and posting my own shoes. But yeah, just brought it back this year. I tried to be innovative with some of the themes, but I also wanted to keep some of them that I feel like are true to Black sneakers always there. So like always gonna celebrate MJ. His birthday and stuff is in February. He is the reason for sneaker culture. And we're always gonna celebrate Kobe because he's not here. He's a legend on the court. Always gonna celebrate Spike Lee. I'm a director. He's a major sneakerhead. He's like shit like that.
Right.
I'm always gonna celebrate Shaq Swoops. I'm always gonna give love to different Black figures in sneakers. Like year over year, I'm gonna find a way to keep innovating how I give love to them. This year, we just happen to be like, hey, it's all about Jordan because it's 2023. But you know,
No, I liked how
so
expansive you took it. Like, 28 days you gotta fill it out, but it also showed like Black History Month is not just about put this dashiki on a sneaker and you're done or whatever, some tribal prints and that's it, right?
right,
It could be way
and
more than that.
it wasn't just the dashiki. It really felt like, and I do hope Nike people are listening because I'm so serious about this. It felt disrespectful at some point. We had those shoes with the blue and the red and the yellow and gray, the Air Force Ones, and they were like tattered and like ripped and stuff. And so for me, it was like, what part of Black history are you telling with this shoe? Because there's only one thing that my mind is going to go to when I see tattered and ripped shoes, And Adidas one year did an all white shoe that said Unity. What the fuck does that have to do with Black
Right.
history? Like, what are you talking about? And so last year, we hadn't seen, I don't think we got Black History Month shoes in 2021. But 2022, we got
I think it was like a Nike
the
by ID
freaking,
type.
it
Yeah.
was it was Nike ID by you, but they were all black Air Force One silhouette. They were different textures of black, but they were black Air Force One. Black people know and understand the negative connotation that goes with all black Air Force One. So what message are you trying to tell? And then the marketing had no personality. It had no culture. It had no life. Rock with a jelly bean next to it. And every single person that saw it was on Twitter like, why? What does the jelly bean have to do with it?
Right.
To this
Yeah.
day, we do not know what the jelly bean has to do with it. And they put it out on maybe the last day of the month. But you know what else they did? They created the Brotherhood Jordan 1 and they released it during Black History Month and didn't tie it to Black history whatsoever. Just, to celebrate the Brotherhood of Jordan's fraternity. No, we're releasing it in February. Let me tell you, you ain't got to say the fraternity names because I know that there's licensing
Yeah, they
and
don't
stuff
want to
that
pay
go with
them
it.
anything.
Right. And not just that they don't want to pay them, but a lot of times the D9 says no to a lot of things. So whatever those intricacies are, they are what they are. But they could have tied that to Black history. They could have, there were so many different drops in 2022 where I'm like, it's right there. Like it's right there. Just add Black History Month to the story somehow.
Right.
Let us know that you're listening and that you're paying attention to us. And then who's in the room creating this? Because if this is a room full of Black people, I need to talk to my brothers and sisters. Like, we need to have a family conversation. If it's not a room full of Black people, be transparent and let us know that so we can tell you what we actually want. We don't want change. We don't want memories of unity. It doesn't need to be all Black and all white. It doesn't need to be one Black, one white. We don't want rips. I literally do not want to see anything ripped on a Black History Month shoe ever again.
Right. No,
Because it just,
I feel like Jordan Brand does this much better than Nike does, and I know because they're kind of their own thing and in the fingerprint of Michael Jordan himself and what he believes in. But I feel like they've done parts of it right at times, but they have not like put it all together. And I think you're probably in the same boat where you feel like they eventually will, and you hope they will.
yeah, yeah. I mean, they listen, they make changes. I know that they work 2 to 3 years out on design, that are released to the general public, so I'm hoping that in 2020 we were heard. I'm hoping that in 2022 we were heard, and we'll see it in 2025. Like, at some point, change has to come, and if it doesn't, it's totally fine, but then I'll just do it, and like I said at the very beginning, Imma do what I want, so
Get it now
y'all
while
don't
it's
wanna
cheap.
do it?
Yeah.
Okay. Right. You don't wanna do it's okay. We have a hashtag. We'll do it ourselves, And, like, shout out to the Whitaker group because they gave me a social status gift card, and they gave me a APB store gift card. Alma Meunier was dead set in release season, so it was too late to be trying to ask for, like, brand new shoes or something like that, or to ask for a Alma Meunier gift card, and they got a Jordan release the next week. That just wasn't gonna happen. But, the Whitaker group definitely looked out. Stance came through. I called and I'm like, "Hey, like, if you guys could just donate, like, 10" I asked them for 10 pair or a gift card for 10 pair. The person that I spoke with who was very high up was like, I'll give you a month's supply. Just let me know who to send it to when it's time."
Wow, nice.
Like, he was like, "This sounds so cool. I believe
Yeah.
in it. We'll give a month's supply to one person." Like, it was that simple. And so these brands can do it, and it's as simple as, "Hey, this is Black History Month, and we just wanna feel seen and heard, and I wanna give back to the people that are showing themselves." Then there's no reason that the footwear brands can't. There's no reason Nike can't actually listen to us and give us Black History Month during Black History Month. I understand Black Future and all of this other stuff, but if people go back and they read their history, they would know that Black History Month was made to celebrate the legends that are now, the people that are in front of you now. Like, we're not supposed to be celebrating Martin Luther King every Black History Month. We're supposed to be celebrating Beyonce and whoever
Right.
else, whoever our Michael Jordan and whoever our stars are, we're supposed to be celebrating the people that are going to be stars in the future. And so I think that's the other thing that frustrates me. Like, I'm from Louisiana, I'm from Shreveport. My mama raised me with the history of like knowing who you are and knowing what your blackness means. And so at times it feels disrespectful. And I guess I take that on for the whole thing. Like, damn, like don't so y'all didn't read y'all books? Y'all talking about black history is dead and it's Black Future Month, but all you had to do was read the book to understand that you're saying the same fucking thing.
Right.
So stuff like that.
Like we've been talking about, representation matters, and who's telling the story matters, and as we said, like who's in the room deciding that kind of stuff. You're right.
Right.
The answer is we got to get in that room.
Right.
So
Yeah.
I wanted your take on a couple current topics as well too. The big news today, the day we're recording, is that Adidas is releasing Yeezys again. I don't think they're really back together as like a relationship or anything, just a kind of partnership. Did you have any thoughts on that? Because at this point,
Um, I think everybody expected it. What were you gonna say though at this point? What?
there was some chatter earlier on that they're coming back together, but really, like, it kind of got blown up where, you know, it's an agreement to kind of get rid of the existing pairs. And it's not exactly like they're in bed together permanently from
Yeah.
now on.
Yeah. That is to be my understanding is that the deal is not renewed. This is to rest of the inventory that's been there. And if you look at some of the stuff that's getting released, like I said, shoes get crafted 2 to 3 years before the general public sees them. A lot of that stuff, and some of that stuff has been sitting in somebody's storage because some of the things I'm seeing, I'm like, no, where did y'all even get more pairs of these at? But
Right.
um, some of that stuff has been waiting for its moment to come out, and the release schedule and plans were ruined because of everything that happened. Like the orange boots that he wore during the Donda tour, um, those are coming out, and I remember being promised those in like 2021. I was like, bro, if I don't need nothing else easy, I need these, and it was like that. Somebody promised, a couple people promised them to
Yeah.
me within the
Those are the,
company, which is cool, but they were like, "You just have to wait, and we don't know how long you're gonna have to wait." That was
right.
2021, way before all of this stuff happened, so a lot of this stuff didn't have actual plans to be out, weren't finished going through the sample phases, like, they had no choice but to figure out what to do with their inventory. You gotta make it somehow, and they can't just go take it to, like, a thrift store. I mean, they could, but they're not going to just take it to a thrift store. This isn't a renewal of new Kanye designs. And a lot of them look like they don't have Yeezy on them. So, I mean, it is what it is. I love the foam runner, and there's a MX blue and something else one. I need that. I need that. I need that orange boot. And after that, I don't care what they do with them. Like, I don't care whose name is on them. None of that. My Yeezy boxing for the ones that I do have, I have two pairs of foam runners. Neither of them say anything on the outside. They're just brown boxes. Nobody knows I have
Right.
Yeezys in there. So, I think everybody wants to have an opinion. Everybody wants to be like this radical no matter what side it's on. You're gonna have the people that are like, he's racist to Jewish people, and so we should never support him at all. And then you're gonna have the people that are like, it's a shoe. Let me get it.
Yeah, like I've said on the show before, the shoe didn't do anything. It's just a shoe, right? The guy did,
Yeah.
and it represents. But like, there's people I know who refuse to listen to R. Kelly or Michael Jackson or anything like that, and I don't go out of my way to buy Yeezys anymore. But I also don't think he's ever missed on a boot. I think the foam runners are also just a great shoe. The slides are a little clunky for me, but I understand how people like the slides.
Mhm. Yeah. I have people that are not into sneakers at all that love the slides and the foam
Yeah.
runners. So it was bound to happen. I worked at a shop that had resale for a minute. And I remember one day I had a Jewish guy come in and he asked me specifically like about my thoughts about Kanye and stuff. And I'm just like, it's unfortunate. Everything that's going on is unfortunate. I don't have any strong feelings one way or another. I think that he should have kept it not closed, whatever. And I'm only running that through because I don't want nobody to listen and come for me. He was wrong. Anyway, the guy is like, "Okay, cool. Like, do you guys have any?" And he's like, "We had like a hour long conversation." At the end, he asked if we had any. And I'm like, no, mind you, we have this whole stack in the back that I wasn't allowed to tell people because my bosses were trying to figure out what to do with them and how to get rid of
Right.
them. And he was like, to be honest, if you know anybody that has Yeezys that are trying to get rid of them, let me know because I fucking love the shoes. They're so comfortable. Like, I'll buy all of them. I don't care. And we had like a hearty laugh about that because I was like, well, like that shocked me.
Yeah.
And he was just like, I mean, he's an idiot, but it doesn't stop the shoe from being a good shoe. I think that the people that wanted to like them should take this opportunity to do so, especially because it doesn't have his name and stuff on them. Take the opportunity to like what you like.
Right. Um, Another one I wanted to ask about was Fear of God and Adidas. And I think you had tweeted a bit about this, about how some of the looks that he showed in his Hollywood Bowl forum thing were those Adidas pieces or were those Fear of God pieces? And I think I remember you tweeting that you had heard that there actually might mostly be Adidas, but then corrected yourself. What was the latest and what did you hear?
So the day of, I was told by somebody that is on that team, by two people that are on that team actually, like that they were excited about it, that they could finally show and talk about the things that they'd been working on and so on and so forth. And they're on the Adidas side, so that was easy to assume. And then I saw the pictures like everybody else and saw all the damn three stripes and Adidas symbols. But hey, but um my good friend Brendan Dunn, Doom, whichever one. Brendan at Complex had tweeted and said, like, hey, sorry to disappoint, but not many Adidas pieces. There's only like these 4 or 6. I think he puts like 6 pictures. And I was like, well, wait a minute, because there was a specific pant that I'm for sure saw 3 stripes down. Like, what about that? I'm sure that there's more that's Adidas. And then I think LA3 commented, and I don't know what he said, but I just basically was like, look, I'm about to call a couple people and I'll report back. And so I did. I called 2 people that were at the show and I called one person that is just pretty connected and asked, like, hey, so that was Adidas by Fear of God. 2 of them were like, most of it is going to be Adidas by Fear of God, um, with a slight bit being essentials and a slight bit being just the Fear of God, like the more couture side. And then one person I spoke to was like, well, it depends on what all they saw and what angle they're like. It just, the answer got complicated when the third person tried to answer me. And by then I was like, I'm kind of over this. Like, I don't really care about the answer anymore because I've already think that most of it was Adidas. I called a third person, and by then it was too complicated to be calling all of these people and getting all these different answers. And I felt like I was confusing my audience at that point. And that's one thing that I tried not to do. Like, I try to be open and transparent about when I am right and when I am wrong in things. And so that's why I just simply said, like, Brendan was partially right. I was partially right. At the end of the day, we all just kind of have to wait for it to come out to know exactly which pieces were Fear of God, which pieces were essential only, and which pieces were Fear of God Athletics by Adidas or whatever the hell. There's like 5 names over there. Um, so yeah.
Yeah, no, it's really interesting to see the rollout. I don't know exactly what's releasing or how they rolled out, and everyone has a vision there that it should be live stream, it should be this, we should have a lookbook
Mhm.
already, but we don't, and that's just how Jerry operates, I guess.
Yeah. Yeah.
Okay, so the final question I wanted to ask your thoughts on was about sneaker leaks and brands, and there was the recent case was when Nike SB commented on a private selection post about the Crenshaw Skate Club leak. And then there was a series of tweets where, they got upset about that. And then Brandon, a previous guest, friend of the show, Brandon, has suggested maybe these brands should work with leakers and let the leakers leak officially. And you were like, nah, you guys are fucking idiots about this. is that is that the case? What were your complete thoughts on that? Because I remember just seeing your tweets and just laughing my ass off.
No, yeah, that's my exact thoughts. They're fucking idiots if they think that Nike needs to call them to work with them for leaks. And I fuck with Brandon, I fuck with Z. I like they cool. Like I no beef. No beef at all. I just don't like when people say stupid shit. And that was literally what that was. Like, and me and Brandon talked in the DMs where I was like, bro, please, 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 cool your tits. Because what are you talking about? Um, it's like, speaking of Vanderpump Rules, it's like this, right? Ariana was getting cheated on by Tom Sandoval. For other people that don't know, he was cheating with her best friend Raquel, and he was lying and telling her that he was at his friend Schwartz's house, right?
And this was like for
During
like years, wasn't it? Like a long time.
Well, it was 7 months, but I feel like it was like 2 years. But from what we know, it was 7 months. We'll find out when the reunion airs, and I will be sure to recap you guys. Don't even trip. But during the finale, he's talking to Schwartz about it, and Schwartz is like, "Bro, like, why didn't you just tell her?" And he was like, "If Ariana wanted to know where I was at so bad, and if I was really coming to Schwartz's house," he says this in a confessional. But Ariana wants to know if I was really coming to Schwartz's house. When I told her that I was going to Schwartz's house, why didn't she follow me to make sure I was going where I was going? What the fuck are you talking about? Because she didn't think that where you were going was to cheat. Why would Nike work with you when your job is not to leak anything? They don't pay you to leak it. You're not a leaking influencer. Like, is there an agency for sneaker leaker? Can
Yeah.
you go sign up somewhere and hand your resume in and be like, yeah, I'm a sneaker leaker? No, they're going to turn you away because they can't trust you with stuff. And that's totally fine. I think that there's space for leaks. I like some of them. I like knowing when some of my faves are coming back. Yes. However, it's June 2023. Why do I know what's coming out holiday 2024 already? That's frustrating
Right.
as a normal consumer because I have like, now I got shopping anxiety that, okay, I got to plan for this. And then for the creators, nobody wants you to be posting your dirty fingernails, ripped up skin, hand holding the shoe, bending the toe box in half, talking about JerLisa Nicole's Jordan 3 coming fall 2028. Like, what are you doing? If you're gonna
And,
leak it, at least leak it decent.
and then see like later it's the Yankee Kicks guy in his socks and
And half the
wearing a
time,
women's shoe.
wearing a woman's shoe, like, I know your toes hurt. I know for a fact your toes hurt because there are some shoes. He had on a GS only shoe one day. And I was like, no, at this point, what size does this man wear? Because how are you in a GS only shoe? Like, it doesn't even go past the size 6 in. And there's no way you wear a size 6 in.
Right.
But they also are so quick to leak stuff that they don't QC their own leaks. Cause that frowning Travis Scott picture, started at Private Selection.
Right.
And then Private Selection sold them to Yankee. And then Yankee posted with them on feet with the Travis Scott, the Cactus Jack frowning. I think that picture might still be on their Twitter. It's back in October. If anybody wanted to go look it up. It's just like y'all can't be serious. You're so in a rush to show us something that you're not even showing us the real thing. And so for somebody like Brandon, who's not like a massive leaker, he's not a dick about it either. He had just posted earlier that day, like the silhouette, and he said, J Balvin, Jordan 3 coming soon. No colorway details.
Yeah, I think it was good he didn't do a mock-up because then people
Yeah,
started expecting the mock-up.
exactly. And I think that what he posted was perfect. If that's how you're gonna leak, that's perfect. If that would have been how the Crenshaw dunks were leaked, there wouldn't have been anything for them to be mad at because all you know is that they're getting this collaboration. But no, you're showing the color, you're showing the style, you're showing everything that's going to make people have these biased opinions ahead of time. That's part of why Vanessa Bryant had a major issue with the Mambacitas releasing at first. And a lot of people forget that. They were
Right.
being backdoored. Nike was hiking the price up and they were being leaked. And she was pissed that they were being leaked. They had to have discussions before the Mambacita eventually came out. And as a leaker, you have the nerve to be like, maybe Nike should work with me. Maybe Nike should beat your ass.
I think I think one of the points that people did not mention a lot is that Nike SB was in the comments because it was a Crenshaw Skate Club sneaker, right? Like that has a unique
Yeah.
story about, the Crenshaw area and being a skater and people don't look like you. And that's what that, if you go to their site and you go to the about page, that's what it's about. But like if some random skate shop like Familia in Minnesota or something got a new one, I don't think Nike SB would be in the comments because they've already got a sneaker. But this skate club had a unique story to tell, and they didn't get to tell it their way because the first look showed up on Private Selection, and I think that was their entire point of it, not
Yeah.
about like leaking and stuff in general. I think.
Yeah, but I mean, it really all goes back to leaking and stuff in general because that can be the story for Crenshaw, but what about Nina Chanel Adney?
Right.
She got the short end of the stick, and I almost 100% blame leakers because I
On
feel like
It was on that damn, like, there was, like, a chimney in the background, like, on a roof
yeah,
somewhere,
it
and it
was
was
the
awful
picture was
photo.
real weird, real terrible. Everybody was like, "What the fuck is this boneless hat?" Like, there
Yeah.
were so many jokes, and I even had jokes. I'm not even gonna lie. I just saw it and was like, "Whoa." And then I saw the name and I'm like, "Oh, wait a minute. I know exactly who she is. Okay, let me take a step back. Let me delete my jokes and let me wait for whatever she has to say about this shoe." Because I'm sure that the story behind the artwork is going to make a difference. Maybe the best packaging Jordan Brand has seen in the last 5 years.
Right.
The lows are bomb, and then you have the people that are actual fans of hers that are just gonna want it because they're fans. I think that had her shoe not been leaked the way that it was, she would have had a better shot of selling it to the people that might actually want it.
Yeah,
And not to say that it would have sold out, but, like, it would have done better than it did.
and she wasn't exactly a household name, so she, needed that proper kinda introduction into the sneaker space. I know she had done some Converse and stuff for, Kamala Harris or something like that, and, but
Yeah.
yeah,
She's
like
like she's done stuff, but to get a Jordan brand not collective, collaboration, a Jordan brand collaboration is like, in my opinion, I feel like that's the pinnacle of being a sneakerhead. To go from wanting and wearing these as a kid to being able to create them, no matter who you are, black, white, brown, whatever, Asian, whatever, it's going to feel so good because that's what so many people strive for. So no matter how big or small to get that, that's a big feat. Just for somebody to take it off a chimney, like,
yeah.
nah, bro.
I think the other aspect that doesn't get talked about as much is it's strategic in a way. And I know the standard response is it's strategic because you get views and likes and the sales and blah, blah, blah. But what I mean is it's strategic in a way. Look at the Union one with the woven, the Footscape Jordan.
Mhm,
If that debuted and was releasing a week later, I think people would be like, "Oh, this shoe sucks," and
mhm.
like, "We don't want this shoe, and it's a brick," or whatever. But now that it's leaked at a certain strategic time, people have had enough time to kind of pre-consume it and come around to it, that by the time, if they time it right, when it comes out, enough people would have already changed their mind, have kind of seen enough angles from different leakers, not the shitty camera leakers, the better camera leakers, but that's Union. They already have a name, they're kind of already established. So it does work in their favor when they want it to.
Yeah, I think a good example of it not working, or let me not say not working, but of it being disappointing would be like when these sneakerheads used to do like 3 to 4 mock-ups before the actual shoe would be shown, you know. They'd be like, this is the early mock-up because we heard of the colorway. This is an updated mock-up we think is more whatever. And some of the mock-ups would be so off, and you would have people expecting these colorways and excited for these shoes that are never actually being produced.
Yeah.
Um, and I think even with the washed pink one, I had commented super early on because their one of their first mock-ups was fire. And I was like, yo, if it doesn't look like this, it's going to piss me off. So I'm just going to ignore everything about the washed pink until it's time for release. You know what I mean? And I did the same with the Union Footscape ones. It was like, look, this picture is terrible. Like it's one of the worst leaked pictures I've ever seen. And because I realized that, I'm gonna chill out on my opinion. I'm not gonna say nothing until I see a photo that I feel like gives me a good view of how this shoe is going to look fresh out of the box. And once I did, then I made my opinion.
Well, Jerlisa, thank you so much for being on the show. Actually, one thing I did want to clear up, your name, I've been pronouncing it right, is JerLisa, right? And I know on your banner it says names are important, and I think that's because people get your name wrong. Is that correct?
Yes, they either spell it with a lowercase L, which both of these grind my gears so bad, but a lowercase L sends me into outer space because that's not how my name is spelled. And also calling me JerLisa, oh, it grinds my gears. So yeah, JerLisa, it's pronounced exactly how it's spelled. And when people pronounce it correctly, I feel like they're smart. So yay you.
No, I was like the capital L. That's how you would pronounce it, and so
Yeah, it's two
yeah,
names put together, kind of.
yeah. Thank you so much for being on the show. I look forward to seeing your journey. And my advice is like, don't allow the people who've ignored your journey then minimize your victory once you get it, because the victories come in. I think you do an awesome job. I think you represent yourself well. And like I said, the highest compliment I can give is I look forward to hearing your opinion on these topics.
Thank you. No, I really appreciate that. I definitely have my days where I struggle with like, am I too much? Like, am I being too JerLisa? Am I giving too much of myself? And I always try to ignore it and kind of mean it like what people that are meant to hear and see will. So that definitely feels like some affirmation. So thank you for that for sure.
Oh, you're welcome. And thanks for being on the show. You can follow JerLisa at JerLisa_Nicole on Instagram and Twitter. Is there any other plugs that you wanted to throw out there?
No. Oh, I have an initiative going on mainly in Dallas, but I also have it where people can mail in called the Quarterly Kickback, where I work with CNK Daily, Kicks 101, and a couple of other people. And we literally just find a way every quarter to make people donate their shoes so that we can give them back to people in need. And that goes anywhere from homeless adults to kids to teens to moms that just need a break from buying stuff or whatever. So if any of you are ever spring cleaning and don't know where to donate your shoes for, please, please, please hit me up. And also, if you are someone that's in need or you know someone that's in need, feel free to hit me up. It'll always be confidential in between us. And I just want to make sure people have something on their feet. So, yeah.
That's awesome. Thanks, JerLisa.
Yeah.
That's the episode. I hope you enjoyed it. It was recorded on May 19th, 2023 and published on May 23rd, 2023. Thank you once again to JerLisa. And, I should have got her to do my outro with me, but I forgot. So I am once again the one to have to tell you to go fuck yourself.